Commander?
They got Michael. Michael all over the, about to destroy Florida. Michael
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council.
destroy.
Commander Angelo Brenton, Emergency Management. Currently, we're monitoring 3 separate hurricane systems or storm systems: Hurricane Michael, Tropical Storm Leslie, and Tropical Storm Nadine. As of about an hour ago, Hurricane Michael has reached a powerful Category 3, heading toward the Florida Panhandle. So at this time, it's not going to affect South Florida, us here, except for increased rain and wind as it passes by. But we want to send all our hopes and prayers out to those who are in the path of that powerful storm as it makes its way up there. We'll continue to monitor Tropical Storm Leslie and Tropical Storm Nadine. They are both out in the Atlantic, over a week away, so we don't have a definitive path if it's going to come here, but at this point, it's not affecting us in South Florida. So we'll continue to monitor and provide updates to the residents and the employees as they become available.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Brenson,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Manager, can we meet with Mr. Brenson, because I am concerned, just in case, and we've been lucky, nothing has come our way, that just so we'll go over what's the plan, what are our preparations, et cetera, as a city.
We can absolutely have them come do
Okay.
that briefing, but I'll tell you, we are prepared.
Well, I need to know. I know you know, but I don't know. And if there's something happening tomorrow, I don't want to be just told, here's the radio, and then it doesn't work, and, you know, the people are calling me.
You got new
so,
radios.
Thank you.
Good.
I'll make
Thank you
myself-
very much, Commander.
Thank you.
We need a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the consent agenda. The motion was seconded by Vice.
You know what? Sorry.
I remove my motion.
So yeah, because I did have tab E. It's a contract for $90,000. If we could take it out of the consent and have a little discussion about it.
You want to talk about it first, then put it back in, or you want to just vote on consent without it?
Vote on consent without it.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda items A through D as in dog.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the consent agenda, item A through E. The motion was
D as in dog.
A through D. D is in dog. The motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed with a 5-0 vote. Tab E, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager to exercise the 4th option to renew a professional services agreement between the city of North Miami and Elaine Lawn and Landscaping Services, Inc., I guess Elon, for the provision of tree trimming services for a period of 1 year at a cost not to exceed $90,000 in accordance with invitation for bid, tree trimming services, IFB, number 09-13-14, as amended, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Good evening, council members. Alberto Estrade, Purchasing Director. The item that you have before you under tab E is simply requesting your approval for the 4th and final renewal of a term agreement with Elan Lawn and Landscaping Services, which provides tree trimming services for the city throughout the city's right-of-way. This is a not-to-exceed amount of $90,000. As I mentioned, this is simply a company that ensures that any potential hazards that there are along the city's right-of-ways are addressed on an as-needed basis. This is the final year of the contract, and our recommendation is for your approval of this final renewal. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them.
The first question that I have, so in the original contract, it said that they could have renewal for full renewals, right?
That's correct.
That's
Mr.
on the
Mayor.
original contract.
Yes, sir.
And so do we have any tabulation? I mean, have they reported to us on an annual basis or whatever basis as to how much work they've done in trimming trees, or do we just let them out there and they do whatever or lack thereof? I mean, how do we quantify the amount of work they do for that $90,000 or whatever it was the previous years?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Derek Corker, Parks and Recreation Department. Yes, we do. We get a report. We actually mark the trees. They issue over 2,300 trees at $35 each tree. So they are marked by staff. They are then cut by the vendor, and the staff then returns back out to monitor and make sure that those trees were trimmed properly before any invoice. Then invoices are sent. Staff goes back through the invoices to mark off each tree that has been trimmed for the amount of funding that is being requested by the vendor.
So the mere fact that we keep renewing this contract means, should I assume that you guys are pretty much pleased and
Yes, sir.
edified with their performance?
Yes, sir. They have been excellent. Always willing. They
But-
actually helped us out during the hurricane as well. So
I mean, I drive through the streets and I knock on doors and I walk through them, through alleys and alleys especially. Believe me, there's a lot of tree trimming that needs to be done. Lots. So I don't know which part they're responsible, for.
Well, Mayor,
Yeah.
if you allow me, you said you just referred to alleys.
I'm,
So,
I'm just saying it's one of them. Alleys, streets.
well, these
know,
these are the
yeah.
trees that are in the city's right of way. If it's alleys, I know we have done some alley sweeps, but keep in mind that the alleys adjacent
Alleys
to
was just
properties.
a
just a reference. Okay.
mention. But I mean, yeah. Before I vote on this, I would like to see like a tabulation or whatever of what these guys have done. I mean, they I don't know whether their performance is up to par or not.
We're-
So I don't know.
We're
I
fine
haven't
with-
even heard.
We're fine with tabling tonight.
heard of them.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, it's funny because, Mr. Manager, I mentioned it to you today. I thought it was another company. Or I don't know the company, but I'm just saying Northwest 8th Avenue and the request that I'm getting from 16th. And so I don't know. Do we have another company that does trim trees besides them?
the city, we have 2 bucket trucks in the Parks Department that we trim trees as well. They trim we have 22,000 trees in the city of North Miami. 22,000. They only trim, that is 3,000 trees per year. Trees are not trimmed annually. They're trimmed every 3 years.
Okay.
So you won't trim a tree every year.
So let me ask this. I'm glad you mentioned this because I think I've seen our guys out there cutting, doing wouldn't it be more prudent if because I don't know what they do. I've seen requests that we put out, especially in my area. I've seen our guys
Yeah,
cutting trees.
Public Works.
I thought
I've
it
seen
was Public Works
but I
do
haven't
it.
seen any other company
So,
trimming trees.
And now you say it's only 3,000. Never mind. So I had issues with it from the get go. Thank you.
Are they here? Elon Musk? Oh no, not Elon Musk.
No, they were, they were,
Elon Musk would make.
they were unable to make it, Mr. Mayor.
Well, if they're unable to make it, they should be unable to get paid.
Move to continue the item to our next council meeting.
Do I have a second to Councilman Galvin's motion?
I'll second.
And have them present next time to defend themselves.
List also of
Yeah.
what they have done. Please provide that for me. Thank you.
Full report.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to continue this item till the next council meeting. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, so the motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion to table to next council meeting has been approved with a 5-0 vote. Tab F, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the city administration's competitive selection of TV Diversify LLC as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder to provide all labor, equipment, materials, services, and expertise required to complete the rehabilitation of wastewater pump station number 24 in accordance with the terms, conditions, and specifications contained in the invitation for bid number 39-17-18 further authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute an agreement with TV Diversified LLC for the provision of services in an amount not to exceed $952,061, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Once again, Mr. Mayor, council members, the item that you have before you under tab F represents the results of solicitation number 391718, which was issued by our department for the purpose of requesting bids from qualified contractors to execute the rehabilitation of wastewater pump station number 24 project. Our recommendation is to award the contract to TV Diversified LLC as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder in an amount not to exceed $952,061 and a completion time of 225 days from issuance of notice to proceed. As reflected in the council report, which was submitted in support of this item, the city received 6 bids, 6 proposals in response to this solicitation. The bid tabulation is included in your council report package, and it's included immediately after the proposed resolution. Based on staff's review and evaluation of the experience and qualifications of each of the bidders, TV Diversified has been deemed to be the lowest and responsive and responsible bidder. This project consists primarily of the rehabilitation of an existing pump station located at Northeast 125th Street and Northeast 16th Avenue, in accordance with design and specifications contained in the solicitation. The council report includes a much more detailed description of the project for your reading. Here with me tonight in support of this item is the Public Works Director, Mr. Wilson Pierre Lewis. In the event that you have any additional questions regarding the work itself on the project. And also in the audience, on behalf of TV Diversified, is the Vice President of the firm, Mr. Kevin Jennings, in the event you have any questions from the firm. This concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, we'll be glad to take them.
Okay, at this time, we'll open the item to the public. It's item 10, tab F, as in Frank. For anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on the item, you are welcome to please come to the mic. See none, hear none. Public hearing is therefore closed. We'll come to the dais if there are any suggestions or recommendations.
I have a question. So this bid, you have a couple dates. This bid was put out in February or March of 2018?
The bid was issued in April 27th, 2018.
Okay. So, Mr. Manager, through the mayor, is this part of the 19 million that we've budgeted?
Yeah,
Is that-
so this project is funded from the fiscal year 18 utility fund capital. So yes, it
And
was
that was the
part of that
19
number.
million we were talking about
Well,
earlier?
it's part of the 73.
Okay, 72.
Right.
Okay, so that was part that we hadn't used. Okay, thank you.
Are we open for public, because I have some comments.
No, public hearing is closed.
After you, Mr.
No.
Manager. What is the community outreach plan?
There is no community outreach
Because of-
plan,
Mhm.
because that only applies for projects that are funded from the general fund.
Okay, I'm a little tired of that. How do we, yeah, I know. Yeah,
He's referring to, and we've talked about this, what he's referring to is not the community benefits
not the
agreement.
benefits.
This is, what is their
Outreach.
outreach plan to let people know?
If they're gonna
when
disturb the
project
residents
is
and how
op-
long
you
it's
know,
gonna
when does
take
it
to-
start and all that stuff.
Yes.
Well, there was no such requirement in the solicitation for a community outreach plan. However, as part of their MOT, and I think the
Let me-
Public Works Director could address that they are
Let me say this to you, Mr. Estrada. Moving forward, please ensure each of these contracts have that, sir. Mr. Estrada, please make sure that we have that. Not the RFP. I'm sorry, the RFP or the RFQ. If you're asking for their qualification, but put something out there because it is important. Because when we sitting up here, we getting calls of what's happening, and there's not even a plan to knock on the door of the neighbor across the street to let them know. I'm very sensitive to that because we are dealing with folks that don't know. And something this major that's going to affect the quality of life of these residents, the roads, how long it's going to take, there has to be some type of outreach done to the community. And I'm very,
It's not
I'm serious
too late.
about that, right?
It's not too late, so.
No, it's not going, because I'm not voting until we have something in all of these items that is coming forward, because we got to think about respecting the residents and making sure that they are aware of what's going on in the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hold on, any other comments or questions?
I'm not clear on what exactly you're asking. Are you saying that the work to be done?
Let
we
me
need-
clear. No,
Okay.
let me make it clear for you. What I'm saying, before they get their stuff, just like Councilman Galvin was saying, how long the road's gonna be cleared, they need to have someone from this community to go to the areas around that's gonna be affected by this, just like FDOT is required and all these other folks to do, saying there are gonna be some work, you're gonna be impacted. If you have questions, these are what, if not, it's they're gonna call you and Councilman Gavin and all this and all that. So that's what I mean. We have to have that, and we at least have to give the respect to the residents in that area that's especially gonna be affected, to at least let them notice, let them know
So-
what's going on.
So we're voting on a bid, but you're saying going forward, we should implement a notification to residents. I think that's
Within the plan, when he does that.
within what,
Just for the record, and I don't, we have not finalized the contract yet.
No, not yet.
So if you wish to move the project forward, what we can do as part of the contract process, ask them to include that, so you can move forward with the item tonight, so that we can kind of get these things,
Okay, now,
But-
okay, go ahead.
and I can give you a full report of, at the next meeting, or, when we get to the final.
Have
on
you
what we
worked
do.
with this company before? No? Have we?
Worcester Pierre Lewis Public Works Director, through the manager. No, we have not worked with this company before.
So what is their track record? What, have they worked in Dade County for any other municipality?
Yes,
Yeah.
they have.
What is it? Huh?
Yes, they have. As part of the solicitation process, as part of the responsiveness process, we require them to submit references for their projects. In other words, to demonstrate that they've been able to successfully complete and execute these projects.
What's the last project they've done in Miami-Dade County?
Good evening. Kevin Jennings with TV Diversified.
Good evening.
How you doing? So, my experience here in Miami-Dade County, I've been doing pump stations for about 10 years, specifically with the county. Sorry.
With Miami-Dade County?
Yes, sir. When I moved over to TV Diversified this year and took over as Director of Operations, we currently hold 7 contracts doing this type of work throughout the state of Florida with other municipalities. This year alone, we'll probably complete anywhere between 50 and 60 rehabilitations of pump stations
Okay.
for other municipalities.
Actually, this is very good. I mean, these are the type of information we need. I mean, when we voting on these, items, it's good to have a face-to-face, meeting to see who's gonna be doing the job and what is their track record. Because you don't want to get a company who's either new to those kind of work, and whether they've have a good track record with other companies. So did we did that diligence and contacted some of the,
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. We
And then-
verified the references. It's included.
so they are flying colors,
And in fact, it's all included. as
flying
part of-
colors.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all I need to hear. Thank you very much. Now we will entertain a
Thank you.
motion. Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Dezume to approve tab F. The motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab G.
Mhm. Go ahead. Tab G.
Tab G. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager to approve work order number 6, amending a professional design and construction management agreement between the city of North Miami and Hazen and Sawyer PC to provide design, permitting, bidding, and construction administration services for improvements to the city's Winston Water Treatment Plant with an estimated time for performance of 37 months at a cost not to exceed $2,943,600 in accordance with the terms, conditions, and specifications contained in request for qualifications number 03-07-08, upgrades to current water treatment plant, and the design and construction management of a new membrane water treatment facility, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Once again, Mr. Mayor, council members, the item that you have before you under tab G is staff's request and recommendation for your approval of an amendment to the existing agreement with the engineering firm Hazen and Sawyer to provide engineering and construction administration services for the final phases of the comprehensive upgrade and improvement projects to the city's water treatment plant. The amount of the contract will be a not-to-exceed amount of $2,943,600. As further described in your council report, Hazen and Sawyer was originally commissioned by the city as an engineer of record for these improvements to the water treatment plant on May of 2008. Since then, Hazen and Sawyer has performed various engineering consulting services for the initial phases of this multi-phase project. The final phases of the project will be incorporated and will be carried out under the proposed amendment to their agreement, which is titled Work Order Number 6. Among the scope of services to be included by and to be provided by Hazen and Sawyer include, but are not limited to, engineering design updates, permitting, preparation of bid packages, bidding and award services, construction administration throughout the execution of the work, and submittal of state revolving fund reports on behalf of the city. As reflected on the second page of the council report, each one of these major tasks under the work order are broken out and itemized based on the total estimated duration for the entire project of 37 months for completion of the entire construction work. Present here this evening, in addition to the Public Works Director, Mr. Pierre Lewis, is Ms. Patricia Carney, Vice President of Hazen and Sawyer, in the event that you have any questions regarding the scope of this contract. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay, at this time, we'll open the item for public hearing.
Good evening, everyone. William Previtel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. Some years ago, quite a few years ago, the Winston Water Plant came before the Planning Commission. At the time, I was on the Planning Commission, and we received the presentation. And for those who don't know, in the District 4, in the western part of the city, there are, actually, I believe it's 5 sort of diamond-shaped. They're square, but then they're tilted. 5 diamond-shaped spaces or parks, which are essentially parks except for this one, which is the Winston Water Plant, which entirely contained all operations of that plant. The administrative building, the pumps, and the tanks, all on that one diamond. I don't know if it was originally designed for that. The original designers probably did not want that for that purpose, but it came down that it was used for that purpose. Since then, there is the need to upgrade the tanks and upgrade the facility. The city is doing that. The way of doing that is they're going from the diamond, taking land across the street, which was originally, previously, residential lots, and they have accommodated the new water tanks. While I was on the board, I noticed that, wow, you've placed 2, but if you shift this a little bit more, we could actually have a footprint for a 3rd tank rather than reinventing the wheel. At the time, I was not insightful enough to share this, and that is that by having the diamond and still having some remnant components there, and also going across the street to the other residential lots, we have now sprawled a greater area. We're sort of squandering our usage of the land. But it's not necessary. Why would we take the administration building, relocate everybody out of it, take it down, rebuild on the same footprint, and then have them have to go across the street to the tanks? Why don't we utilize the 3rd tank and restore the park? The 3rd footprint just takes the existing plan that's been proposed, move it,
Thank you very much.
And we have a park. Benefits the neighborhood greatly and increases the property values.
Thank you. Public hearing is still open on the item, but see none, hear none. It is therefore closed.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor. The IFP for this contract has been done when?
I'm sorry, Councilman?
The IFP for this contract has been done when?
Oh, this was issued in May of 2008. The solicitation was issued.
That's been 10 years?
10 years ago, yes, sir.
And that's the first contract that you just sent over to me today?
No,
Mr. Manager.
they've done a number of, there's a number of work orders. There's a number of other activities that have taken place. In fact, as you can see, this is titled Work Order Number 6.
Okay. Did they meet all the requirements in those previous contracts?
As far as I know, yes, Councilman.
Since I just got the contract and I'm about to review it, can we postpone this until the next meeting? That's my recommendation.
I do have a couple of questions because, Mr. Manager,
Make sure they meet all the requirements in the previous one before we allow them to do another one.
Mr. Manager, my concern, I've known Hazen and Sawyer for many years, and I've worked with Pat. I know they are professionals and they qualify to do this because back in 2008, out of disclosure,
2008.
they had reached out to me when I was way out there to do some work on this. So my concern was that component with the community outreach component. That's my concern with that. I know last meeting that was my concern, and you said there would be something.
Yeah,
that would
we based on our briefing, we need to address the issue of the outreach.
Okay.
It is
It's gonna be there.
in
It's
this
gonna be
case.
there.
We said we
And-
just gotta
yeah.
make sure they meet the
requirements.
in the previous
Okay.
contract
Right.
before we give them another contract.
Another
fine.
work,
Yeah.
we
The work
advance the
order.
next work order.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
It is different than the previous one. That is actually, that component is built into the original contract.
Okay,
So it's an
perfect.
issue of just
And
talking about the plan and the delivery.
one remark I want to make. I mean, project with so many, I guess, components to it. What I've seen in, people do in other municipalities and at the county level, it's always a good idea to get us, more involved. I mean, not in the process. I'm not talking about the bidding process, but the Winsome water treatment, of course, is a pivotal part of the city, and I think I've been to it. I visited it twice during the entire 4 years that I've been here. But I think it would be nice for administration to get us involved, and at least for a field trip, so that we can be be more up to date. I mean, when we're making those votes and those critical decisions, $2.9 million, like, take a trip there. I mean, one morning or one afternoon, so for someone to explain to us, what's really going on instead of voting in the dark.
After each election,
Huh?
they used to do that.
Yeah, after each elections and
for
so.
new members
Yeah.
go and visit the water plant and some other
But this is major work. I mean, we've talked about this program before, and the way that it's being executed is not what I've discussed with past managers, Mr. Alim Ghani and now you and so forth. Now it's being done by piecemeal, and it's just going under our eyes, piece by piece, and we just keep voting them yes, but we don't know what the hell we're voting.
Well,
I don't know what the hell is being presented to me here. So please take me to a field trip, give me a good presentation, a comprehensive. Don't keep patching things, bringing us, piece by piece, and we're voting for them. We don't even know what we vote for, until 6 months, a year, 2 years later. That's when they say, yes, you voted for this 2 years ago. Well, I voted for it 2 years ago, but I did not know what the hell I was voting for because it was just put under a rug and shove it for 5 minutes, and then I'm supposed to just, understand everything and vote for it just in 5 minutes. It simply does not make sense. What I've seen them done, you know, whenever there is a big project going, and that's we're talking about this wall, the transparency walls. The transparency wall. That's why the community outreach is very important. Getting us fully engaged is very important. I am not engaged in this. And I am the mayor. I'm not even engaged. I didn't even know about this RFP or RFQ. It's not just administration. I mean, we hire you guys to do the job. Yes, because you are the expert. You go out there and you look for people. But it behooves you to come back to us and fill us in every now and then. I'm sick and tired of sitting here and having to vote projects of $2 million, $500,000, and I know diddly about them.
But don't you read the agendas, Mr. Mayor? I'm sorry, but I got to just jump in here a little bit. You
Yeah.
have the opportunity to read the agenda, to go out and visit on your own, and to
No,
ask
no, no,
questions ahead of time.
no, not on my own. With administration, with people to come and answer questions that I may have.
But you do read the agenda items
Yes,
then?
of course I do.
Okay.
I know the item was coming.
Okay, because you just said you didn't know diddly about it. And
No,
that's
no,
the
no.
difference
I don't know
between-
diddly about this entire thing.
Okay.
Like if you ask me what, like certain things that had been done recently, I don't know. Like I said,
Right.
I've only visited the plant twice, you know, since I've got elected. But these, you know, what I'm just saying is we have to be more engaging people more whenever we are faced with these type of votes. You know, that's all I'm saying. They can't just be done, you know, just you guys process everything and you just bring it to us. I mean, just a week is not really enough. I mean, this agenda, well, first of all, I wasn't even here. So I only got this agenda like 2 days ago. So, anyway, but it's...
The agendas are published online days before the meeting, so.
I know that. But
Okay.
I have a motion
Mhm.
to move this
Well,
to the next.
I want staff to
we
take
can
me
be-
to the plant and go over, you know, what's going on, what's been going on before I can vote on it.
Because, so, Mr. Manager,
I have a couple questions.
oh, you have, okay.
Either we're gonna discuss it and vote, or we're gonna
It's
continue it. Let's
discussion.
not discuss it ad infinitum and then
I'm
continue
ready
it.
to vote. My questions are, number one, I believe Councilman Galvin, you were on the dais in 2008.
I was sitting in this very
You
chair.
were sitting in that very chair, and I was sitting out in the audience, and we all, you know, this is when the project started.
Mhm.
This is just a continuant. This has been going on. You have different, to me, we have a contract with Hazen and Sawyer, and we just keep going in phases and phases and phases. So this is just a continuation. It's already been, the RFP was done 11 years ago. My question to the manager through the mayor is the $2,943,000, the funding for that is coming from where?
This one is coming from the state revolving fund. So the city, back at that time,
Borrowed money?
borrowed the money through the state revolving fund to pay for this project. So these are,
This is like a construction draw?
yeah, after this is approved, we submit the package to the state, we get the funding, and I guess apply to see if some of it will be not reimbursable or whatever. Go through the process.
Principal
forgiven. Will be
Principal forgiven.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask my question now, Mr. Manager? Between now and, I believe your motion, Councilman, is to defer the item?
Yes.
Okay, between now and the next meeting, would you be able to give the respected council trips, documents, whatever that we need
No,
to
what
do?
I need is a review of the previous contract to make sure they meet all the requirement in the previous scope of work before we allow them to.
That's what I'm
continue.
saying. So if we could do that back before,
We'll provide
because this is the
that.
second time that we are.
Yeah.
I was hoping tonight I would have gotten, but we went over it.
Yeah.
We don't have that plan.
Right.
So since the mayor brought his issue to it, which is a valid one, he wants to take a field trip, Councilman. So maybe by the next meeting, we'll have all those answered, I think.
Yep.
Right, Mr.
I have
Go
no
for
problem
it.
with continuing it
Yeah.
a couple weeks.
Okay. I
We'll get
second
it all
his
done.
motion, Mr. Clerk.
So I have a motion made by Councilman Bienemay. The motion is to table this item to the next council meeting. The motion was seconded by Councilman Nazume. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed with the motion to table has been passed with a 5-0 vote. Tab H, Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute a professional services agreement between the city of North Miami and ACCOM Technical Services, Inc. for professional engineering services for the rehabilitation of Pump Station A in an amount not to exceed $129,484 pursuant to request for qualifications number 12-14-15, continuing professional architectural and engineering services, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Mr. Mayor, council members, the item that you have before you under tab H is staff's recommended approval of an agreement with the firm AECOM Technical Services to provide the city with the necessary engineering consulting services for the rehabilitation of Pump Station A, which is located in the area of Northwest 125th Street and Northwest 11th Avenue, for a total not to exceed consulting fee of $129,484. As reflected in the council report, AECOM is one of the consulting firms which are currently included under the CCNA pool of pre-qualified firms commissioned by the city on June of 2015 under the category of water resources, stormwater design, and engineering services. As reflected or as included in the council report, Pump Station A is the city's first wastewater pump station, and it's over 50 years old. As a result, staff has requested a proposal from AECOM to provide the necessary engineering services to correct the wear and tear that's suffered by the building and its equipment due to the years in service. The scope of services to be provided by AECOM includes, but is not limited to, mechanical, electrical, structural conditioning assessment, engineering design and technical specifications, regulatory permitting assistance, bidding and award assistance, and engineering services during the construction of the project. AECOM's work is anticipated to last approximately 6 months from staff's issuance of notice to proceed. Here with me in support of this item is once again the Public Works Director, and if you have any questions, we're glad to take them. Thank you.
Okay, public hearing is open on the item. Item H, is it? H as in Harry is open for public hearing.
I'd move approval of the item if, Ms. Austin, I'm sorry.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street. I live very close to this pump A. It is indeed a hazard to everyone's health, and I'm glad finally you're going to do something about it. Thank you.
I better second that.
Move approval of the item.
Do I have a second?
By Dizulme.
Dezume? Okay, so the motion was made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab H. Councilman Dezume second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab I, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute a professional services agreement between the city of North Miami and Kimley Horn and Associates, Inc. for engineering design, permitting, construction documents, and bid assistance services for water main improvements projects in an amount not to exceed $244,800 pursuant to request for qualifications number 12-14-15, continuing professional architectural and engineering services, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Mr. Mayor, council members, the item that you have before you under tab I is staff's recommendation to approve an agreement with the firm Kimley Horn and Associates to provide the city with the necessary engineering consulting services for the upgrade of 4 water mains located throughout the city for a total not to exceed fee of $244,800. As reflected in the council report, which was submitted in support of the item, Kimley Horn is one of the consulting firms included under the current CCNA pool of pre-qualified firms commissioned by the city on June 2015 under the category of water resources, stormwater design, and engineering services. In order to address the infrastructure needs reflected in the city's sanitary sewer master plan, staff has requested a proposal from Kimley Horn to provide the necessary engineering services for the following water main improvement projects, which are described in the council report. And those projects are a 12-inch water main improvement along Northeast 6th Avenue, an 8-inch water main improvement along Northeast 118th Street, an 8-inch water main improvement along Northwest 7th Avenue, and lastly, an 8-inch water main improvement project along West Biscayne Canal Road. And as I mentioned, all the description of these projects are included in the council report. The scope of work to be performed by Kimley Horn for all these projects include, but are not limited to, engineering design, surveying, geotechnical reports, regulatory assistance, bidding and award services for the construction phase of the projects. Kimley Horn's work is anticipated to last approximately 12 months from issuance of notice to proceed. Once again, here in support of this item with me is the Public Works Director, Mr. Whistler Pierre Lewis, and I believe there's a representative here from Kimley Horn, Mr. George Balaban, in the event you have any questions. And that ends my presentation. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them. Thank you.
Let's open the item to the public. For anyone who wants to be heard on the item, item Irene. I as in Irene. See none, hear none, public hearing is closed.
Mr. Mayor,
Mhm.
I know Mr. Estrada, this is a piggyback, right?
No, sir. No.
It's
No,
not?
no, no.
Which one that was a
No,
piggyback?
that's
One
Jay.
of them was,
No,
the
no.
next one.
Yeah, the next one.
Is this one the same thing that I requested from the first item from
We can do the same thing.
exactly. Now I'm open to do it here now, or do we want to table it for next time to be sure? Because
Well, remember, we have to still, we still have to negotiate the contract.
Right.
So we
Okay.
can handle it the same way, which is pass it, and then we'll include it in the contract.
okay, I'm okay with that. Thank you.
Move approval?
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Godwin to approve tab I. The motion was seconded by Councilman Desiree. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed with a 5-0
I
vote.
take it that all these infrastructure work that we are doing are part of the comprehensive plan that we have for
Yes.
sea level rise, you
Well-
know, and other adverse.
Well, these projects are specifically repair and maintenance projects associated with the stormwater system and in our water plant. So there's still a number of sea level rise projects that are on our sustainability list that we still need to have further conversation with the council about how we fund and move forward on.
Yeah, we need to bring them up ASAP. All right.
Tab J, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager to issue purchase orders in an aggregate amount not to exceed $540,000 annually for a 5-year term for the purchase of pumps, drives, and motor parts and services, piggybacking Miami-Dade County Contract Number 6819-517-5, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Mr. Mayor, council members, this is my last item. I wish I could stay here up all night long, but this is my last.
You actually can. I'll motion to approve it.
This, the item that you have before you in the tab J is staff's request for your approval. This one is a piggyback, Councilman DeSume, of the Miami-Dade contract number 6819-517-5. It's for the purchase of pumps, drives, and motors for new and rebuilt units and parts of repair and maintenance services. And we are seeking your authority to issue purchase orders in an amount not to exceed $540,000 annually. As reflected in the council report, on April of 2008, the county approved the award of a pool of pre-qualified vendors for the purchase and repairs of pumps, drives, and motors for their public works and other infrastructure projects. On June of this year, 2018, the county approved an extension of this pre-qualified pool of vendors through July 1st, 2023. Just for your information, as a matter of perspective, there were a total of 43 vendors that were pre-qualified by the county under this solicitation. And it was based on an estimated purchase volume of over $105 million over the life of this contract. This represents significant volume buying power that's made available to the city by piggybacking on this contract. The pool of vendors under this contract is divided as follows. There's 3 groups. Group 1 is for the purchase of new and rebuilt pumps, drives, and motors. Group 2 is for the repair and maintenance services for pumps. And Group 3 are for repair and maintenance services to motors and drives. This is a contract that will be used by the Public Works Department, and they will utilize it to request quotes on an as-needed basis from the pool of qualified vendors, depending on the applicable category. Purchase orders will then be issued to the vendor who offers the best price, product, and services to the city. Once again, with me tonight in support of the item is the Public Works Director, Mr. Whistler Pierre-Louis. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them.
Okay, public hearing is open.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. My name is Kevin Burns, 2065 Alamanda Drive. The only question I have about this particular thing is I know the county had started this vendors list in 2008, and they're now on their 3rd 5-year renewal. I don't necessarily always trust the way the county does their bidding. I don't think they do it any better than we do. However, that's not my issue. My issue is that we are authorizing the city manager for the next 5 years to spend up to $540,000 per year for a total of $2.7 million, $2.7 million worth of parts. I don't believe we should be granting the managers multi-years and going forward to spend the money or authorize to spend the money, because we may be looking at a different manager next year, the following year, 3 years, 5 years from now. If it's to authorize the $540,000 for this budget year, absolutely. And you know, nothing's going to change. The vendors are all going to be the same. But I don't think we should get in the habit of pre-authorizing the manager of purchases that far in advance. There may be reasons for it, but I think we should go by each year's budget. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open, but I see none, hear none. It is therefore closed.
It's funny because I had a question regarding the 5-year term, the renewal. Well, you know my feeling about piggybacks, but I do understand why we do it. So out of the 43 vendors that are pre-qualified within the pool, we would be soliciting to any of those, and then whoever give us the best price we'll be utilizing, correct?
That's exactly
okay.
correct.
So can we amend the, because it may not work out for year 1 or year 2, can we amend
Make the motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we do it annually, if possible. So we'll deal with 140 instead of 2 point whatever million that might be. And then we could bring it back each year.
I would second that.
I have a motion made by Councilman Desiree to approve tab J with amendments as stated on the record by Councilman Desiree. That motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keys. All in favor?
And in the contract, it's not gonna be the same as this landscaping company that we just come and renew them automatically. It's gonna be put, it's gonna be put out for bid every year, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
What is common, Mr. Mayor, and Mayor Kevin Burns just say something. All of the city contracts are usually for 5 years. You have Country Bill who've been there for 22 years, 25 years. I just don't understand what he's been saying. And we're about to sign another contract for $2.9 million, and he's been there since 2008. That's when it's 10 years. That I just don't understand, because the city we're gonna be gone, but we're still gonna have the city of North Miami, and we're gonna have to buy equipment for the city. That means 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. It's not about you, to please you.
I guess, you have to look at it in the, I do understand what former mayor, what his concern is. His concern is that you don't want to get stuck with a company for 5 years, and find out a year later their performance is on the floor, and they're not. Yeah.
Yeah, but Mr. Mayor, every time you have a contract, a 5-year contract with option for renewal, that's when every year you can decide to put a new RFP. Next year,
But that's
you
what
can
we were
decide to
saying.
renew it.
No.
But
If you give this
This
for
is
5
not-
years, then you cannot put it back for RFP.
This is
Every
not,
year-
but this is
because
not a
you-
service
because you-
contract. This is
Because
for
you
parts.
stuck with that person
For
with
5
that
years.
Yeah,
for
but I
5 years.
understand that. But it's not just like we are doing it. That's the way it been done in the city.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a
that
5
doesn't mean
years
that it's
contract.
right.
with-
Like I
we-
said,
we
the
can change it.
the
It's not like
company is
it's
still
not
going to
right.
be there. So
That's what we've been doing.
Well,
but when you said
it
okay,
doesn't
don't
make-
do it, it's like we are doing it and it
Well, we
wasn't
are.
done. That's not the way it's been done.
Because we're voting on it, and I would say the same thing with Country Bill
I
or any
agree
of
with
these
that. I agree
multi-term
with
year
that.
contracts.
It's like our insurance. You have supposedly they've been there for 15 years. It's
did we
forever. That's
vote
been-
yet?
when you
Yes,
say-
by the way, just
they
for the
keep
record,
saying-
We already voted.
I just didn't record one
But
person
you
vote, and
keep
that's
saying
Councilman
you've
Benjamin's
been
vote.
there.
But everybody else voted yes except for you, Councilman Benjamin. I'm still
He
still
didn't
waiting.
say
on
that.
you.
He did not say that,
That's
Mr.
what I'm
Clerk.
saying. I got 4 votes. I'm just
Guys, we
waiting
have
on
a
one more vote.
long agenda here this evening.
No, for the year contract, I'm okay with that. It's
Well,
not like it's something new.
He was
that
making
we
a
are
comment.
Doing here.
We got it. So it's a 5-0 vote. So we're
Gotcha.
good. All right. You want to continue or you want me to go on?
Continue. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so tab K, proposed resolution of the, just for the record, tab J was passed 5-0 vote with the amendments. Tab K, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, providing for ratification of the collective bargaining agreement between the city of North Miami and the International Union of Police Associations, AFL-CIO Local 6008, for the bargaining unit consisting of the city's non-professional white-collar employees, authorizing the city manager to execute and to take all actions necessary to implement the collective bargaining agreement, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Move approval.
No, open it, budget here.
Bang. Go. You're in
Second.
charge.
Oh, excuse me. Okay,
Public hearing's open.
public hearing open. Anybody wishing to speak? Public hearing's closed.
Move approval.
Do we have a second down
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab K. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Keys.
For discussion.
No, I didn't
this-
second it.
Yeah.
Did I second it?
No, did you?
Guys, come on.
Okay.
Let's pay attention.
You
Let's
guys
move
can
this
still
fast.
discuss it.
I make a public hearing has been opened.
And closed.
And close. And open.
Open and closed.
Okay, come on up.
I move
tab
approval
K.
of the item. I move
Which one?
And I
State
second it.
Guys, gotta pay attention.
This is our white collar collective bargaining agreement.
Not you guys. I'm talking about my fellow brethren up here who are asking what we're voting on.
No, we're voting on
police
L,
Do you
right?
have any discussion? I mean,
Discuss, that's what I thought. We had the discussion.
public hearing is done. We
She wanted
opened-
to say something. Can we open it? No?
Public hearing is done.
It's done? Okay, that's fine.
We-
Yes, we voted yes.
What time?
No, you didn't vote. Call
I
the-
thought we
call the
voted.
Oh
question.
my goodness gracious,
Mr.
guys.
Clerk, would you please call the question?
Okay, so I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab K. The motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed 4-0 for now. When the mayor comes back, we'll record his vote. Tab
Okay,
L.
L.
Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, providing for ratification of the collective bargaining agreement between the city of North Miami and the International Union of Police Associations, AFL-CIO, Local C6009, for the bargaining unit consisting of the city's blue-collar employees, authorizing the city manager to execute and to take all action necessary to implement the collective bargaining agreement, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Awesome. Public hearing's
Okay, thank you. Anybody who'd like to speak, please come up quickly.
My name is Michelle. First of all, I would like to know if you guys could please speak in your microphones because we can't hear, and we'd love to hear you guys, but we can't hear you guys back there.
Thank
so
you.
that's just the. But my name is Michelle Togno. I live at 11930 North Bay Shore Drive, and my question about this is, my concern is that, like ATN said up here, he said, the city clerk, he said that we don't have the residents, the bulk of residents moving in. We don't have that extra money. We have employees with positions that I think we need to budget. I think that we need to relook at everything, and see, do we have the right number of employees for what's going? I think we have too many employees. I don't want anybody to lose their jobs, but we really have to look. And when you say $47 million, if you divide that by 12, you're at $3 million a month. If you look at this agenda and what we're spending a lot of money. So we really technically do not have the money.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Thank you. Public hearing is closed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to, excuse me, Madam Vice Mayor, I'd like to ask staff for a brief 1-minute presentation on this $47 million, bless you, $47 million expenditure we're apparently about to approve. Okay, please, can we have a
I'd be
quick-
glad to speak about this group. This is the IUPA, Joe Roglieri, Personnel Director. Even though the title is International Union of Police Associations, these two contracts are for civilian employees. The white collar was the first one. This is the blue collar. These employees are among the lowest paid employees in the city. These are the people with the boots on the ground, the general maintenance workers, the trades mechanics, the administrative support specialists. These are the people who do the work. And the increase to the budget for these people is equivalent to 2%, 2%, and 2%. The cost of living, Michael, was 2% and 2% the last 2 years.
Joe,
Thank you.
just hold on, don't leave. Just so that we're clear, these are we achieved the bargaining goals that were set by the council, which was to increase the minimum salary
wage to $15
the $15 for the first year. So there is no 2% the first year, and then there's a 2% COLA year 2 and year 3. I just wanted to put that clearly.
Those are for the small employees.
These are for the
Michael, those are for the people who are making $8, $9, and now
total.
we
Can you
move the
can you put
minimum wage
total
to
3 year?
$15 an hour.
I'd like
on the
to
record.
put the total costs in, and then I'll give you the exact progression to get to 15. The cost for this one, the blue collar, in the first year to adjust the pay grades to get them on the path to a $15 minimum is $109,000 in the first year. The 2% COLA in year 2 is going to be $88,531. In year 3, the COLA will cost $94,800 for the blue collar to get them up to $15.14 an hour as a minimum pay. Year 3 of the contract.
I'd make a motion to approve the $15 minimum
That was the
wage.
negotiation with the union, right?
Approve the contract.
Have we had a public hearing?
Yes.
One person. Can I say something, Joe? As a former union person, I certainly support this item. But to what Ms. Tango was saying, what Michelle stated earlier, that is a concern, and I shared it with the manager. We are a little bit, but that's overall. This has nothing to do with this particular item. I am fully in support of giving the employees what they needed, but overall, and I'm talking about not even these amount of employees. I'm talking about when you look at various departments that's increasing. That is a conversation that we need to have. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about mainly. I know, Councilman.
Guys, you
if
gotta
you
do one conversation at a time.
if you heard what I state earlier, I said I fully support this, and I'm giving my opinion on what Ms. Tango said up here, and that's a conversation that I'll be having with the manager just on the overall how the employees is increasing, and then you got jumping step from here to this and this and this and that. So we do have to look at that comprehensively. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab L. The motion was seconded by Councilman Desmay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
I guess item passed with a 4-0 vote. When Councilwoman Keys gets back, we'll record that vote. Mayor, I have to record your vote on tab K. Would you like me, you want a second to read that tab?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
How do you vote on tab K, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, so just for the record, tab K was approved with a 5-0 vote. Tab M, Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency, CRA, fiscal year 2017 through 2018 amended budget, authorizing the city manager to transmit the CRA fiscal year 2017 through 2018 amended budget to Miami-Dade County, authorizing the city manager to take all action necessary to complete the approval process for the CRA fiscal year 2017 through 2018 amended budget with Miami-Dade County, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Through the mayor, council members, this is the budget that the budget amendment that you all approved as the CRA board a few weeks ago. As directed by the board at the last meeting, we went back to the advisory board committee, went back to the CRA board, and made ourselves available for any questions with regards to this item. We did not hear or receive any. Very quickly to put on the record, the details of this budget amendment, when we finished our year-end numbers for the previous fiscal year, we identified an additional $369,000 of carryover dollars that needed to be appropriated. In addition, our performance and interest on investments performed $3,300 better than anticipated, and then we received a $25,000 repayment of a loan to get us to a $398,000 total amendment to the budget. With regards to the expense side of the equation, those funds were all allocated to increases in between commercial grants and capital for the street sweeper for the clean team. In addition, we are reallocating $72,000 from the operating line item for police to the capital line item to pay for the license plate readers that were approved by the CRA. So we ask that you approve this amendment.
Okay. If Ms. Camo doesn't have anything more to add, we'll open it to the public.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street. I think this item, I'm sorry, my phone is acting as it don't mind. As this item includes a CRA funding for Chinatown, I want to stand in the objection to Chinatown, reminding you that Chinatown was suggested that it would be investors who were going to fund the Chinatown project. That's what we were told. And here, being completely fooled that we were the investors, the CRA, that's our tax money. Who's paying for this Chinatown project, which is absurd? Absurd. Secondly, there was also in your budget stating giving money to a doctor who has a building, a clinic, with a marijuana dispensary with CRA money. That is not the purpose of the CRA money, our tax dollars. This is a misuse of our money, and I request that you do not fund this, because you did not act in clear transparency, and you deceived us. Don't take our money. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open, but I see none, hear none. It is closed.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab M. The motion was seconded by Councilman Dezume. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed with a 5-0 vote. And regarding tab L, Councilwoman Keys, we have to
Yes.
record your vote. How do you vote on tab L?
Yes.
Okay, for the record, tab L was approved with a 5-0 vote. Tab N, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the North Miami Community Redevelopment Agency fiscal year 2018 through 2019 budget, authorizing the city manager to transmit the CRA fiscal year 2018 through 2019 budget to Miami-Dade County, authorizing the city manager to take all action necessary to complete the approval process for the CRA fiscal year 2018 through 2019 budget with Miami-Dade County, and providing an effective date. That was tab N.
Through the mayor. Again, this is the fiscal year 19 CRA budget. Again, as put on the record, this budget was presented twice at the CRA Advisory Committee, twice at the CRA Board, and approved by approved by you as the CRA Board. We're bringing it back now for final approval and transmittal authorization to the county. Quick highlights: total revenue being appropriated is $8.2 million, which includes approximately little over $6.5 million worth of TIF funds, gross TIF funds, and $1.8 million of carryover. On the expenditure side, our administrative expenses continue to be below the 4% threshold that we set as a board. We are having to refund to the county per the interlocal approximately $2.5 million. That's 2.1 that's going back to the county, and then another 408 coming back to the city. That's approximately 30% of the gross amount that is being collected. We are allocating the big line items. We're allocating $1.4 million to a commercial incentive program, and then $550,000 towards affordable housing and rehab initiatives, and then $2 million towards capital. A breakdown of those include the garage project that we are required to complete per the interlocal by 2024. The $160,000 towards the Mocha Courtyard, which is the interior courtyard, which this board has had an initial review of the design. $250,000 for the Liberty Gardens improvement project, and $821,000 towards Griffin Center and the Green Trail project, for a total expenditure appropriation of $8.2 million, leaving us with an appropriated balanced budget, and I ask for your approval.
A public hearing is open. On item N as in Nancy.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street, Sunkist Grove. This CRA monies and budgeting was not done with full faith, with the understanding of the public. Therefore, I object to this money being allocated for the seemingly prescribed purposes, and also to the fact that none of these monies are allocated to any service to Sunkist Grove. Thank you.
Public hearing is now closed.
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion made by Councilman Garvin to approve tab N. Motion was seconded by Councilman Zume. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed with a 5-0 vote. Tab O, which I understand is a quasi-judicial item. Is it? The next four. Okay, so regarding tab O, P, Q, and R, I'm going to assume that I can swear everybody in for all four tabs, right, City Attorney? Okay, so if you intend to be heard on tabs O, P, Q, and R, please raise your right hand so that I can swear you in. Hey, you taking a picture? You got him?
Oh, that's a lot of them.
The mayor's going to ready his camera. All right, so we good. So raise your right hand and answer my question, I guess. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God? Okay, Mayor, these individuals are duly sworn in. Tab O. Proposed ordinance, second reading of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, adopting a small-scale land use plan amendment to the city of North Miami 2036 future land use map to extend eastwardly the boundary of the planned corridor development PCD overlay district by one parcel to include a parcel of real property approximately 4.13 acres in size, located at 1850 Northeast 123rd Street, to allow for the proposed development of the vacant property site in a manner consistent with the intent of the City of North Miami Comprehensive Plan and in accordance with sections 163.318411 and 163.3187 Florida statutes and sections 3-1105, 3-1106, and 3-1109B of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, land development regulations, further authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to effectuate the subject small-scale land use plan amendment as required by Florida law, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for codification, and for an effective date. That was tab O.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, Tanya Wilson Sejour with Community Planning and Development.
I don't believe you raised your hand.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, Tanya Wilson Sejour. This is actually the second reading of the ordinance for a small-scale land use plan amendment. The council recalled that this item was before you on September 12th, at which time it passed on first reading. Simply a request for the extension of the planned corridor overlay district eastward to include the property located at 1850 Northeast 123rd Street. As stated on the record at first reading, the request is for a mixed-use development that would incorporate 297 residential units as well as 15,480 square feet retail office. Staff is recommending approval of this land use plan amendment. And in terms of the next steps in the process, if the ordinance is approved on second reading tonight, you will see this item again in the form of a zoning map amendment. So they'll have to go back through the process of planning commission review for that ordinance, and then it will be back before city council for final consideration. The code also requires that the applicant file for a development agreement. So you will see this project through several iterations, and if approved tonight, the applicant will be able to move forward with the next application before planning commission. I know that counsel for the applicant is here and wishes to present at this time.
Mr. Mayor, through you to Ms. Sejour, before we hear from the applicant, we're being asked to approve an extension of the corridor this evening.
The district, the PCD district, the overlay.
An extension of the overlay district
Correct.
this evening. Why are you recommending an extension of the corridor district versus just a simple variance for this specific site? I was asked this week very clearly, specifically, why not just go for a site variance as opposed to extending the entire district?
So the other alternative would be for a mixed-use designation and also a zoning designation of PD. But that designation is only 45 dwelling units per acre. So it wouldn't afford the applicant to have the maximum development numbers that they're looking for this proposed development. It would be for a lower total amount.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Public hearing is open. Yeah, but we already had a present. Well, this is there may be new people who haven't. Make it short.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm Joseph Geller of Green Spoon Martyr LLC, along with co-counsel.
Carla Jones with the Law Office of Carla Jones, PA.
As you may recall, we presented this item fully at that time. I want to just remind the council that we presented to you petitions from over 1,000 people in support of it. I do want to take this opportunity, and I'll hand up through the attorney, to present another 100+ petitions, mostly, I believe, from District 2, but some from District 1. The architect is present tonight. He's presented to you previously. The hour is late, so we're going to try to be extremely brief tonight. But we're happy to answer any questions that anyone would have. But the architect is here, he can present. If you want to hear again the specific items in the Declaration of Restrictions, that's Ms. Jones, and we're happy to bring her up to do that. I'll remind you, we had 3 community meetings with well over, close to 138 people in attendance at those meetings. The council was kind enough to vote 4-1 in favor of this. We think it's a great project. With that said, we're here to answer any questions, but I don't want to go back over the same ground we talked about. So if there's anything you'd like us to discuss further, we're happy to do it. But otherwise, that's our presentation.
Mr. Mayor, through you to Representative Geller, if I might. Why are you pursuing a extension of the overlay district as opposed to a specific variance for the site?
Well, as Ms. Wilson-Sejour pointed out, to go to the mixed-use designation would provide some but not enough additional units. Now, we have a declaration of restrictions. We are seeking and binding ourselves and binding the land to far less than the overlay district would allow. So it's still limited as to number, but it does allow more flexibility to have the extension than would be available if we were, in essence, rezoning this property to be the mixed use as she discussed.
Thank you, Mr. Representative Geller. Through you to Mr. Cazot. Mr. Cazot, he said that they're binding themselves. Are they legally binding themselves to a smaller plan than they possibly could go to, and could they amend that in the future?
Yes, the declaration that was provided to us that we reviewed does bind them to the numbers that they've stated on the record.
Okay, and if they hope to change that in the future?
I believe it takes us, the language in the document requires a supermajority vote of the council to change it at any time. Okay. And it's recorded, so it doesn't matter who ends up with the project. If they were to sell it later on, they would still be bound by the declaration.
Thank you.
All right, public hearing is now open. Public hearing is open on the item.
William Welsh, 1180 118 Road. Totally opposed to this because it's not actually a development project that you're voting on. It is just a rezoning, and the zoning that is being requested has absolutely, to my understanding, no residential units in there. So why are you seeking a zoning that doesn't apply to your project? To me, it just seems like a scam that they can do whatever they want in the future with a zoning that doesn't require residential units, and you know, it should not have been recommended. They should have gone for a variance and not a zoning change to zoning that doesn't allow them to have residential units.
Gail Kornblum, 12785 Maple Road. First of all, I think it's a beautiful project. I'm very impressed with the plans that I've seen. I think it's a little bit too high, but I think it would be beautiful addition to 123rd Street. But I am very opposed to moving the planned corridor. I don't understand, at 45 units per acre times 4.13 acres, it's 185 units that they could have just by getting a zoning change. And I'm afraid that once we start chipping away on all of our plans that have been so carefully made up for the city, that it'll start affecting one lot and then another lot and another lot, and it's going to change the whole complexion of what the initial plan is for the city of North Miami.
William Simpson, I'm exempt from my address. I agree with the previous two speakers. I just think that it's another scam. I don't understand why we're revisiting a rezone of the whole area instead of just the property. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Howard Tonkin, 12600 Griffin Boulevard. If we call everything a scam and have no developments in this city, we're going to have storage facilities and car repair places and vacant lots and tumbleweeds and dead trees. And I'm so sick of everybody calling everything we try to do in this city a scam or bad or it's going to cause traffic. How does people living in a residential neighborhood cause more traffic? The traffic in our city is people that come through our city, not people that live in our city. I'm so tired of looking outside of LA Fitness every day when I work out and seeing 6 acres of vacant lots and nothing going on in this city and high rises and amazing things going on all over South Florida. But in North Miami, we have nothing. If we don't do something to develop North Miami, it will be left behind when sea level rise and we have climate change. San Souci and Keystone, you guys are going underwater, and we're going to sit around in this city and wait until that happens and have no development. And then where will people live when people's houses start going underwater? We need to start building residential buildings up in this city. We do. And we need development that goes up because, if you let me finish without shaking your head and being a hater, what we need in this city is development because we're going to have highways built out in the Everglades and more single-family residences building out into the Everglades. This is precisely where there should be development in our city, precisely where we should be making our city happen. The intersection of Biscayne Boulevard and 125th, can you think of any more busy happening place in our city to build? Thank you.
Well said, Beverly Hilton, 455 Northwest 121st Street. I agree with the previous speaker. We need to go up. We have nowhere else to go. We're being left behind. Miami Gardens, Miami Beach, North Miami Beach. We have no place to go. We have to go up. So I agree with the gentleman. We need to rezone.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council, residents. My name is Mike Mosqua, 2215 and a half Northeast 123rd Street. This is my street. This is my home. North Miami is my home. And I am tired, like a lot of you, to see the lack of progress over small minutia, small details, lack of trust that things are not going to be as they said, or things are going to be changed the way you don't particularly like it. A small sliver of the city. I've been there for 20 years, and I have said it is a disgrace. That is the heartbeat, that's the entrance to North Miami. And you come in from Bay Harbor, tree-lined, beautiful buildings, quiet, slow traffic, and then you hit the bridge. Everyone speeds up. All of the great planning we tried to do 10 years ago to get islands has been neglected. The city is irresponsible because they never turned on the sprinklers. So anything that they planted died. Every tree that gets hit by one of those speeding cars is left there until somebody eventually picks it up. And the biggest insult is recently I've been watching Park Services or whoever does trimming out there in the island with these little trimmers, and there's nothing but dirt. We need change. This project is very upscale, very future-oriented. More people have said to me, my God, finally we're going to get some quality apartments. And in addition, you're going to have retail, and you're going to have sidewalk activity. Slowly, this will be a walkable city, but not if everybody constantly says no. So please, I support this, Mayor, and I hope that you will continue to, too.
Thank you.
Kenneth East, 776 Northeast 125th Street. I support this project. Again, it's no to this, no to that, no to the Publix facing north, no to Home Depot, no to any high-rise. I was in the police department, we called this the town that time forgot. And we keep doing that. You know, I look at North Miami Beach, Centralia City, a beautiful high-rise going up. 163rd Street, a beautiful high-rise. Folks, the Urban Land Institute has said that density is good. Live, work, and play in the same neighborhood. We're looking at a rapid transit station over there on 123rd Street. This is ideal. We are getting left in the dust. I'm down at the VA this morning at 8 o'clock. I go down there every week. I see beautiful developments. I used to work downtown when I was on loan to DEA. It was a dump down there. It's beautiful today. If we are going to help this city develop and we want to have affordable housing, we need a tax base to support that. I'd rather have a wealthy city, I said this often enough, I'd rather have a wealthy city helping poorer people get into the economic strata than a poor city not helping anybody. It's the same nonsense. You know, you're going to put this high-rise up. You have, usually what I hear is Keystone Point, Sands, who say, no, 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 no to this, no to that. Well, when I was your chief of police, it was no to everything. You have a canal, you have businesses, you have a four-lane street, and this is the ideal place to have it. This is the ideal place to have it. You get people in there with disposable income. They're going to keep your restaurants alive, keep your retail sector alive. Density is good. This town has to grow. Stop killing it. Go for development. Please, I beg you. I've been here since 1970, and I look at 123rd Street, I want to cry. My friends have moved out of here, and they say to me, Chief, you're still there. Why am I still here? I don't know. Maybe I'm masochistic. I don't know. You know, you gave me a home when I came back from Vietnam, and that's why I'm still fighting. I want to fight for development. I want to fight for the goodness in this city. Thank you very much.
My name is Arthur Duke Story, former councilman for the city of North Miami. I didn't come here tonight for this particular part of the agenda, but I'm glad that it happened while I was here tonight for what I'm actually here for. I can remember being on that city council sitting in you guys' seat, and they were getting ready to build Home Depot, and we had to vote on it. And everybody was against it. All these people tonight that are crying about this 123rd Street are the same people that were crying about no Home Depot. They wanted me, they actually paid people to run against me because Duke is for big Home Depot. But guess what? After Home Depot was built, all those people that voted against me were in Home Depot. I will say to this council, we need to grow. Me and the former chief, we didn't get along, but you know what? I have grown to respect Chief Eats, and I'm glad that you're here to talk about what we need to do in this city. I've been here, I came from Vietnam too, and I moved into this city, and I've been here my son, who's a deputy city manager, was raised here in this city. Most of you people that think that doesn't know what he's doing, he's been here for probably longer than any of you. He's been here his entire life. And he worked up through his entire life. He went to high school, he went to elementary school, middle school, and high school here in North Miami. Gave his all. He worked his butt off. I know he worked his butt off because I made him work his butt off. He went to school. He became who he is, not because somebody gave him something, but because his daddy kicked his ass and made him work for it. Let's build this city. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie. I live at 1170 Northwest 133rd Street, and I definitely support this project. As a millennial, I would like to stay living here once I'm older, and I see myself in that setting one day. So I definitely support this project. I want to grow up, older and see it happen.
Laura Hill, 13075 Griffin Boulevard. I don't always agree with the development choices the city makes, but this one to me makes a lot of sense. I think the design of the project will look great coming into the city. I think there's a lot of merit to what people have said about coming across the bridge from Bay Harbor and not really seeing much but an empty lot that's overgrown. I think if we're going to grow, we have to grow in the right places. And in this sense, I don't really see a big problem with it. I think it's going to be an asset to our city, so I support this project. Thank you.
Good evening, Jim Garrett, 11610 North Bay Shore Drive. First of all, this project is good, but it's in the wrong location, or we're going to take the whole area of all the apartments between San Souci Boulevard,
We're here,
San
guys,
Souci
yeah.
Boulevard and 123rd Street and wipe them out and build something really nice. Okay? What we're doing is we're doing spot zoning. We put a storage facility on the corner, and then we put an apartment building on the other side. That's what we're doing wrong in this city. You're right, sir, about 123rd Street. We didn't keep that up. Some of you have personal interest in this. Shame on you. You should look for the better of the city. And Mr. Soy, I supported you back in 1999 and 2001. And I've supported the Home Depot back then. That was there on 121 Biscayne because it will bring jobs to the city. Don't twist my record, please. And my memory is pretty good for 56 years old. I've been in this city since 1972. My mom moved here to give me a better education. I went to Gratney Elementary, St. James Elementary, Thomas Jefferson Elementary, and North Miami High. And this city made me the person that was able to go up to Florida State University and earn a degree.
Mr. Garrett, we can't hear you. 'Cause
Okay,
you're speaking
okay, I'm
over each
sorry, Scott. This is the right project, but it's the wrong location. If we're going to do something, we need to zone the whole area, get rid of all them other apartments back there that look like a slum, and build something nice and new, just like what they do down south in Pinecrest.
Hi, my name is Jessica Murray. I live at 14327 Garden Drive, and I want to keep it short. I definitely support this project, just like my good friend Stephanie said. I want a place that's, a luxury apartment where I can live in the future, and I already work here. I gym in this location. I grocery shop here. I do everything here, and it'd be nice to have a luxury apartment to rest my head at night. So I do support this project. Thank you.
Jean Marcellus, 1325 Northeast 125 Street. And I think this open lots there for so long, it's about time to have a beautiful project like the one they're going to do there. I think it's about time to use what we call the best and highest use of the land. Instead have this piece of land for so long sitting there. And besides, we need a tax base too. And I think that's going to bring some money for the city. And one of the reasons I'm supporting this project. And let's make it the best and highest use for that piece of land. And thank you for that project.
Michelle Togno, 11930 North Bayshore Drive. I'm a little baffled because I hear everybody come up here and talking about the beautification of the project, but I really think it's about the corridor. And unless I'm confused, I don't know why everybody's coming up here telling me saying it's a beautiful project. Nobody's disagreeing that it doesn't look beautiful on paper, but we're talking about moving a corridor. We're talking about changing an area. My biggest problem too is when anything happens on that property, it's affecting the canal on 124th Street, which is Laurel Lane. The water is full of soot. I don't have the fish in the backyard. They're all dying. We can't even get the city to come clean it because the machine to rent from Miami-Dade County is too expensive. But it's all coming in from a pipe that comes across. And I've taken pictures. That canal, when we moved there, I could see the bottom. I would swim in it as a kid. And I too, I'm not going to say my age, but I was born in North Miami General Hospital. So I'm old. So I've seen, but guess what? I love the changes that are happening, but I want the changes the right way. I don't think we need to move the corridor. I think it needs to be set. LA Fitness, what happened in that, in the board and everything that approved it, that was wrong. Let's learn from our mistakes. Let's do things the right way if we're going to do it. Nobody's saying the project doesn't look beautiful, but it's not about that. Oh, yes, and let me just say something a little sassy here, because I know Andre Pierre's here and all these kids are here. Oh, yes, I did vote for the bond. That's what they said last time. I don't want that. I want everybody to come up here and let's talk about the corridor.